Hey there, everybody. We're back with another episode of the Barely Bookish podcast. How y'all doing? How you guys doing on this fine Wednesday? I hope that you guys are having a good week so far, that everything is nice and fun in your life, and that you guys are finding fun little hobbies to enjoy now that Rona is almost at a year. Is it at a year? I think it's almost at a year. But I hope you guys are finding fun hobbies because I've taken up a lot of them now. I'm into longboarding. That's been fun. I'm exploring whiskeys now. I don't know. It's been a weird year, but whatever. We're trying to make the most of it, I guess. But yeah, we're back with another episode on 1984 this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. I say that every week, but I think they're all really fun. So I hope you guys do too. And other fun things that we're doing is on twitch.tv/barelybookish. I think that's the URL probably. We are streaming Stardew Valley now. I have a couple questions for everyone who is in love with Shane. Why? The guy kind of seems like a jerk right now. Hopefully he gets better soon, but I don't know, man. I don't really like Shane. But we shall see. So I'm streaming Stardew Valley. I got some Legend of Zelda going. We got some Pikmin videos. I'll probably have a highlight reel of the Legend of Zelda video here soon. I don't know. But that doesn't really matter right now. I just wanted to say if you guys are interested, you can watch that. But we'll get right into the episode and starting now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 1984 by George Orwell. I am joined once again by our wonderful friend of the show and myself, Nicole.
Hi!
I am very excited to continue on with this quite honestly kind of insane book. This book, honestly, these chapters that we're going to cover today are just crazy, and it's just a lot. It's a lot, and we're going to get into a lot. But I will just start right off, and we will continue where we left off, and we are on chapter 6. So, chapter 6, it starts off, and Winston is face to face with O'Brien. O'Brien talks about Winston's latest article and how he had a few words in it that had become completely obsolete in the 10th edition of the dictionary for Newspeak, and O'Brien offers to let Winston borrow the 10th edition since it hasn't come out yet. So O'Brien gives Winston his address so that he can come pick up the dictionary, and Winston definitely thinks this is code for something. Which, like, yeah.
I mean, he's not really wrong.
I know. But I was just like, I was in this moment, I was just like, what if Winston legitimately thought he was picking up a dictionary?
He would have been surprised.
I know, he definitely would have been surprised. He would have been like, whoa, okay, I guess we're not getting a dictionary today.
I don't know. When the first interactions between these two happened, I was thinking, oh shit, O'Brien is gonna ship him off, you know? Because it had its, like, sketchy moment in there. And I was just like, oh, some shit's gonna go down. I was pleasantly disappointed when nothing went down.
Yeah, not disappointed until the end.
Oh, I know. Oh, man.
So, chapter 7, Winston woke up next to Julia. He says that he was dreaming of his mother's death and tells Julia that he truly thought he had murdered his mother for the longest time. And Julia's like, okay, and? Like, if someone says, hey, I thought I murdered my mom, but, like, luckily I didn't, wouldn't you be like, okay, we should probably, like, not talk anymore. Deuces, see you later. But Julia's like, okay, cool. That's fun. Like,
Well,
we've
already established she's a bit nutty herself.
literally.
I mean,
like, is this what George Orwell thinks of women?
I don't know. Like, George, I really wish I could just sit down with the man.
Yeah, because
How much of your life, sir, did you pour into this book?
Yeah, because it just seems like he thinks women are just complacent. Like this, first off, this book does not pass the Bechdel test at all. There's no point in which you see other women talk to each other at all.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he talks about Julia, is she doesn't have a mind or an imagination or like a drive. She's
Yeah,
very
cut and
not.
dry.
Yeah, she's just there's nothing to her. There's no emotion, there's no feeling. She's just like our what is it? The Mary Sue. She's just very like bleh. She
Yeah,
doesn't have
bleh
anything.
is like all you can say, really,
Yeah.
is bleh.
And it's just like I feel bad cuz like I want to love all of our ladies, but like she just
You
doesn't
really
have.
want her to have more.
Yeah, she just has
Yeah.
nothing. She has no emotion. She has no feeling. And she's very obviously a woman written by a man who doesn't understand that women have feelings, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And it's sad because it's like they only allow the male characters to be complex characters throughout
Mm-hmm.
this entire novel. There's no woman in power. There's no drive for any women to want to do anything. And like, well, some of
Other
that's from,
than clean, cook, and pop out babies.
yeah. And it's like, well, some of that's from Winston's perspective. It's still like not shown that anybody's changing that opinion at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like so aggravating to me. Anyways, Winston is remembering his childhood, that he grew up in a war and how there was like never enough food to eat. And this is where you realize how much we already like established that Winston's a terrible person, okay? Like
This
it's
is
a
how much
known
we
fact.
establish he is a asshole
Yeah.
all his life.
Literally, there was no good child. Like, okay, so it talks about how he would get mad at his mother for not having enough food. And it sounds like they were super poor. They had like one bedroom that everyone shared, apparently. And then they had a communal, like single, like campfire stovetop that like many rooms shared. So they were broke. And he's out here complaining that he's not getting enough food. Every mealtime, he's yelling at his mother and it's like, I need more. Like, and this kid's like 10 years old, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's old enough to know not to be selfish, okay? Like 10 years old is a decent, like, if you're like 4 or 5, okay, you don't know anything. Like, you're an infant, okay? Like, that's infancy. But like 10 years old, you have like some sort of like cognitive association of sharing.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
Like, he was like 10 or 12, and I was so mad reading this part because he's always been like a terrible person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Winston is a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah. No, this moment, like when he's thinking of his childhood, it just like I was just like, dude, are you serious? Like he was just so nasty, and his poor mother. Oh my gosh, like his
Yeah.
poor mom, And then when they had to share the chocolate.
Mhm. Yeah, so essentially, he demanded he got everything while his mother and little sister, and his little sister is sick. She is like
Mm-hmm.
3 years old. She is very sick. And he's making them starve. So after his mother gives him the majority of the chocolate, like 3/4 of the chocolate, um, his younger sister is like looking at it kind of strangely, and he snatches it out of her hands and runs away and leaves the house.
Keep in mind that this is 2 ounces
Hmm.
of chocolate that they're sharing
Yeah,
through the three of them.
yeah. So it's and like the mom's already not getting any,
Mm-hmm.
so that she could give um our terrible, terrible child uh the fair, like not the fair, the majority of the share. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
meant to say. And I and then he like has the audacity to steal his younger sister's share because he's horrible to women.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
then he
steals it and runs away.
yeah, he leaves and goes outside for a couple hours and then gets hungry again and comes back home only to find that his mother and his little sister are gone. And like he's like, I think they might have gotten taken to the labor camp. I think they left. Like I
No,
think she
I
was
did
like
too.
I was like, I think she was like done with this kid. She saw her opportunity and she left the kid because like
She abandoned ship, man.
listen, I don't have a lot of like maternal instinct, okay? Like I know that. But I'm just saying, if a child was that much of a snot, we're in a war. Who's gonna know?
Yeah.
Like this kid is literally a little terror. Like he's horrible. And
He's the
like
worst.
he's the reason that his mother and his younger sister are starving to death
Mm-hmm.
because he demands so much. Like they say how he if she was pouring food, as soon as she stopped ladling food on his plate, he would start screaming and start trying to take the pot from
Throwing
her.
a fit and temper tantrum, and oh,
Like,
this man, this
like,
child.
like I know that, like, obviously, you know, like, I don't know how to. I don't have a child. I don't know how to parent. But like, I, I don't even. I wouldn't like in that situation. I would literally just like be like, nope. Like, if you can't share, you don't like. I really don't know how to handle that. Like, I hate it. I hate him as a child. I hate him as an adult. So terrible. Like, I
No,
don't
he is
understand.
terrible. He is a terrible person, and I give credit to his mom for trying, like,
Yeah.
and she tried. She's like, you got to share, and she like expresses to him that she's doing the best she can, and he knows the situation they're in. The father left.
Yeah.
It's just a mom and a sick sister, you'd think at his age, you know, what is needed to survive, and he only cares about himself. He is very,
Yeah.
very selfish.
We also don't know if the father left to go to war either, because this kid is not concerned with anything outside of his own person. So, like,
Yeah.
and the other thing I don't understand, okay, like, now we know this information. Was this supposed to make us feel bad for Winston growing up? Because it's presented like we're supposed to feel bad for Winston now. Like, I don't feel bad for Winston. Winston's a terror. He's the
Mhm.
worst person in this entire, like, everyone in this book is terrible, okay? Like, I already understand that. But, like, Winston's the worst. Why
He's
were
the
we getting
worst.
this information? Like, I now feel bad for Winston's mother and the unknown younger sister.
Mhm.
Like, I don't feel bad for Winston. Like,
No.
let him get captured by the thought police. See if I care. I don't care. If he dies at the end of this book, I'll be like, oh no. Like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah. Now I'm more curious to where's the sister and mother.
I know.
Like, I'm more interested in knowing their story because his story is just him being selfish.
Yeah, he's a
24
trash
freaking
bag.
7.
A trash bag. Like, I still don't understand why this was presented to us at all.
Yeah.
Or like why it was in the context of he's like, well, I'm glad I know I didn't really murder her. Like, you basically did. You basically did. Because she would be fine and dandy if you weren't starving her and your younger sister.
Mhm.
Like,
No.
what? I'm so confused. Like, I was so caught up in that
There's
moment.
there's a lot of moments so far in this book that have been presented to us that really
Mhm.
don't make sense,
Yeah.
and there's like no like reasoning behind why
Hmm.
it was explained. It's almost as if it's just filler.
Yeah. Like in an anime series where they have that like background episode where they all go out to eat dinner.
Mhm.
That's what I feel like is happening right now. Like, I could have done without this. Like, it
Yeah.
just further shows to me that Winston's a horrible, horrendous human.
Yeah.
And so why was I given this? Because now I just hate him more.
Mhm.
And like, I don't know. Are we supposed to feel bad for Winston? Like, I really don't know. Like, he feels like enemy number one to me.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about him. Um I go through periods where like, oh, poor Winston, but then you get to moments like this and you're just like, why am I oh poor Winston? Why
Yeah,
did I feel anything for that past moment?
I know. And it's just like, I don't know if they're trying to show us like he's a product of the world he grew up in, but like, normally during war, people band together. It's like like for the nation that's being
Yeah.
attacked. But he's just so selfish. So
Mhm.
you're not really a product of the world if you're that incredibly selfish, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't grow up in that kind of world, so I can't necessarily say that, but like I just feel like he would be more concerned about his family if like he's impoverished and he's trying to like not get enough food. Like, wouldn't you be concerned about the rest of your family who's also
Mhm.
starving? Like, I don't understand why he doesn't care at all.
He has no sense of care. There's no sense of feeling for others. There's no sense of care. And even for Julia, I
Mhm.
don't even think he has a real sense of care for even her. In
No.
theory, I think he's just using her for,
Wow,
like in
chicka
the
wow
beginning,
wow.
bow chicka bow wow, the body,
Yeah, like I
you
don't think he
know?
cares about her.
No, I don't think he truly cares about her. I think he just enjoys her company
Mhm.
because it's somebody he can be with and
Yeah.
talk shit, and talk about his hate for the world, talk about, all the crap, and
Mhm.
not worry about Thought Police getting eliminated, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's why he sticks around her because she is kind of the same way in a sense,
Mhm.
and it's like you do kind of get that from her where she's kind of the same person, like she doesn't really care so much.
Mhm.
She if they go down, they go down. She's just like,
Yeah.
"We're just go down," you know?
Yeah. Like they don't have any sort of meaningful conversation to the point where they could form a true connection. Like they're
Mhm.
literally just like F buddies, you
Yeah.
know?
No,
And it's like
exactly.
he talks about like they would never be able to get married, but like you don't know her. You don't know anything about her. You have no real in-depth conversation,
Mhm.
you know? All they do is bow chicka wow wow and that's it.
Mhm. And drink
Like
coffee.
and drink coffee. Yeah, drink a lot of
They
coffee for
drink
some reason.
a lot of coffee.
And like, I don't I don't know if George Orwell just was never married or what. Like, now I feel like I should Google that, but I just feel like he apparently doesn't understand how romantic relationships work
Mhm.
because um this is not it. Like, you have to have an actual connection to your partner, and Julia and Winston have no connection whatsoever at all.
Yeah.
Are you Googling it to find
I
out?
am. I am Googling.
Maybe at like the
He
time
did.
of
He did marry on June 9th, 1936.
so it says it was first published in 1949. So if you understand how romantic relationships work, how can you write Winston and Julia?
1949?
Yeah.
He died a year later.
Oof.
He died in 1950.
It says first published in 1949.
Yeah, no, you're right. It even says that on the Googles. It
Hmm.
says 1949.
Wow.
It's the one of it was I think the last book. It was the last book he published. He died. He wait, what year?
19
1949. Does it say like a month or day?
not on this one.
Let me click this Googly search. Um,
Yeah, it says this was his last book.
June. Okay, so originally published June 8th, 1949, and he died January 21st, 1950.
Uh, well,
Died like 6 months later.
so he could not get any criticism about this book then because he died.
But he did marry. He married an Eileen O'Shaughnessy.
So, like, what was their relationship like? Because apparently, him and Winston and Julia, have no connection. I feel like if you're writing a book, you should know how relationships work, and they don't have a relationship. Like, unless it's intended that way, like, I don't know.
Now I'm curious. Hang on.
Was it a happy marriage? Can we
I
find that
know.
out through Google?
I'm going through his personal life here now.
I love it. All right, let's go back to the book. So Winston tells Julia that if they were smart, they would walk out of here and never see each other again. And Julia says that she's not going to leave and they cannot get inside you. While they can make you say anything, they can never change the way you feel. Like, you guys are lusting after each other. You're not even in love. Like, I don't understand. Okay, so chapter 8. Julia and Winston both come to O'Brien's house. Then O'Brien reads a sheet of paper and talks in inner party jargon. And honestly, I have no idea what he said. Like,
Yeah.
that little paragraph, it could have said anything. I have no idea what it said. So O'Brien has the power to turn off the telescreen because he's in the inner party. Which, I don't even understand how they can do that. Like, we're talking about a government who does not trust anyone. You know, they don't even trust themselves because Emmanuel Goldstein was literally part of the Big Brother, like top head honchos. So they obviously trust absolutely no one. So how do the inner party members have the ability to turn off the telescreen?
Yeah.
Like, it just does not make any sense to me. That doesn't seem like a power that anyone should have, if the entire reason that they are implemented is so that you could monitor your citizens. Like, I don't get it.
I don't get it, but I mean, I guess it's a power thing. I think it's just to show how the inner party has power.
Yeah, probably, but
I mean, granted, the whole thing is about not giving power to anybody, but I guess they have to show that some have power.
I wonder if it secretly doesn't do anything. Like, I wonder if it just turns off the TV screen, but the recording software still works.
Oh, man.
That's my thought. It's like, why would they give anybody that power?
That'd be terrifying.
That's my guess. That's what I think's happening. So Winston tells O'Brien that they want to rebel against the party, that they are adulterers and thought criminals. Like, full on lays it all out there.
We are this, and this.
The trust he has in O'Brien right now for absolutely no reason. He just throws it all out there. And first of all, he brought Julia, who was not even invited. Okay.
Yeah, it's, like during this whole exchange, it was almost as if she was not there.
Yeah, because O'Brien pays no attention to Julia at all.
Not whatsoever. And even tells her that she is going to have to leave first.
The amount of men and the patriarchy that exists in this novel infuriates me.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. It's crazy. Like, she was brought there and she's like basically not spoke of the entire time they were there, except for the last question that O'Brien asks, and they both say
no.
Yes or no.
They both say no.
Yeah, they both say no.
I know. So turns out the Brotherhood is real.
He hesitates in saying no.
I know. I know. We'll get there in a second. So turns out the Brotherhood is real, and immediately Brotherhood, that's sexist. Like, this entire book is so male-centered that when we get to the part where he's reading the book by Emmanuel, I am going to talk about that a little bit more, but we will come back to it. Just putting a pin in that for now. So O'Brien asks if they're ready to lie, murder, possibly kill innocent people during sabotage, corrupt, and everyone's like, yeah, that sounds fun. I love that idea. Totally. That's great. And then after everything, he asks him if him and Julia are prepared to separate and never see each other again. And immediately Julia's like, no, not a thing, not happening. And Winston's like, la-di-da, la-di-da, a thought. And it's like, if you guys are in love, okay, like legitimately in love, you would not think about separating. Like, you would not be able to bear it. And like the fact that Winston is just kind of like, could I do that? I'm not sure. Like, that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
I hate Winston.
No, he's definitely not nice, and it kind of like makes me feel bad for Julia.
I
Like
know.
this set part basically shows like she is literally in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like she is in love with him. She doesn't want to separate. She wants to be with him. And he is just like, eh.
Yeah. But it's like she also doesn't know him. She's just attracted to him for some reason, which he doesn't seem like conventionally attractive at all.
I think this whole book, though, is like based around that nobody does not know anybody. I mean, even marriages here, you really don't know the person that you're marrying because because you can't love the person. You don't have really any interactions with the person. And we've basically boiled it down to arranged freaking marriages.
Yeah. I
So
guess
it's like the whole book is based around not knowing anybody around you. I mean, you don't really see them talking to each other. You don't, I think lunchtime at work is the only time you really see people talking to each other.
Mm-hmm. I'm guessing that in their heads, attraction equates love because they don't understand that love is a process. It's not like the first time you see someone, you don't like instant love is not a thing. Instant attraction is, and then love comes after. But they obviously wouldn't have any idea of the difference because they have not experienced either.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. That's what I'm boiling it down to.
Yeah. So O'Brien says,
and can we just mention that O'Brien says, "Are you ready to pour acid on a child's face?"
Yeah, and in what way would we ever need to, like, I get that the children are basically little mini Hitler spies now, but like in what reason do we have for pouring acid on a child?
I read that and I was just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I was just
And like Winston's like, yeah, I'll do
my
that tomorrow if
gosh.
you want me to. And I'm like, Winston, you're a horrendous individual.
He's just like, "Let's do it."
Yeah, Winston's like not even phased. Like he's like, that's what I gotta do. Like
He's
what
not fazed by anything.
I know, but like what benefit would it serve the government to pour acid on a single child's face?
Not even
Absolutely
government,
nothing.
the Brotherhood at this point.
Yeah, but like the government would be like, whatever, that's not even a real act of rebellion, that's just like a small inconvenience in the grand scheme of things where you still like hurt a child for no reason, It's not
It's not an inconvenience.
like the thing is, it's like it's horrible. Okay,
It's
like let me make that very clear. It is horrible for the child, it is horrible for the child's parents. But what's the government gonna care about one child? Why is that a giant act of rebellion? Like, and what reason would you need to do that?
Yeah.
Like that's the issue I
mean,
don't
if
get.
anything, you would want to kill the tiny little Hitler, not scar him. I mean, as horrible as that sounds, if you're just pouring acid on him, he still can run off and tell and do whatever he wants to do.
Let's do this. Basically, for it to mean anything to the government, he would have to have an Anakin Skywalker moment, kill all the younglings. That means something to the government, okay?
Yeah.
But hurting and defacing one small child, no matter if that child is a spy, is not, the government's not going to care about one tiny human in the grand scheme of things. So why even do it?
Yeah.
Like
I love
either
how we totally brought Disney up in here.
That was the only thing I can think of. It's like Anakin killing the younglings, horrendous atrocity. The Jedi Council cares. If Anakin happened to murder one child, would anyone really care? Like the kid, obviously, that's dead would care. The parents would care. But would the Jedi Council care?
Yeah.
Probably not. Would the Empire care? Probably not. But it's like he murdered all the Jedi younglings, which are already like hard to find, So he killed like 15 kids. That's an atrocity.
Yeah.
What pouring acid on one child. I still don't understand. Like, I don't understand the leaps and bounds of logic here.
I mean, it's probably just O'Brien's way to see how far they're willing to go, I
mean,
guess.
probably. That makes sense, but like,
it was a bit extreme.
I know, it's random.
It was a bit extreme and random. Yes, it was extreme and random.
Like, I just don't understand the benefit that would serve, I guess. I don't know. So, okay, anyways, back to moving past Anakin killing younglings. Let's go. So O'Brien says that they will know that the Brotherhood exists, but nothing more, and they will receive orders that they must carry out quietly. The main problem I have with this is that no one knows how large the Brotherhood is. They say not even Emmanuel Goldstein, who leads the Brotherhood, knows how large it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I have an issue with that is every single member of the entire society could be a member of the Brotherhood, and no one would know. So they could have overthrown the government by now, but instead, by taking these precautions, and no one knowing, it's so not dismantled, but like I forgot what that word is. But it's like so spread out that it's like they're never going to accomplish anything because you don't know who's in it, who's not, to how to figure out how many people are in it. And like, I just think they could have overthrown the government by now. Like, there is no reason for them to continue on unless this is also a separate act by the party to have a rebellion and to have people in the rebellion who think they're doing something to then continue with the party. Like, I think the party might be leading the Brotherhood.
I don't know.
That's my conspiracy theory.
Your conspiracy theory. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think they're two sides of the same
think
coin.
I have an opinion on that yet.
I think they're two sides of the same coin. Like, obviously this might be completely out of left field, but I really think that it's like they need someone internally to seem like the bad guy to rile the people up and to keep them engaged. Like, kind of what they talk about with war is it keeps people complacent, So I think the Brotherhood does essentially the same thing, and that even members of the Brotherhood don't realize that that's what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. It could go that way.
Either that or I'm in way too deep now.
That's probably Orwell's
mission. Plan. So Orion says they will receive orders quietly, and they just must carry them out. So they also talk about how they're able to completely change the way people look.
They have surgeons and everything.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, hair dye does the same thing.
So then it makes me think about everybody who's disappeared. Have they really disappeared, or have they joined the Brotherhood? Yeah.
Because they could have thought police people who are in on it.
Yeah.
Maybe. O'Brien tells them that they will probably die before change happens, and that their hopes are for a better future and for future generations, not for themselves. And I was like, okay. Like, I don't think people understand how quickly a revolution can happen. Like, it seems like he thinks that this is going to be like 100 years, whereas like a revolution can occur in the matter of like 2 to 3 years. It can be a quick shift. I'm not saying that what the after effect would be good, but like they can pick up the pace on this a little bit. Like, they don't need to spend 20, 30 years trying to plant the seed for this revolution. They can just do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, exactly.
So O'Brien gives him the rules on how he's going to get the book and tells him that he must return it in 14 days. And then he also made Julia leave by this point for no reason, because apparently she has to leave first.
It made no sense. That whole interaction. They came in together, but they have to leave separate.
Yeah.
It made no sense to me. I don't know.
I don't know either. But, like, I don't know how they expect Julia to not get caught when she's not even supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So, chapter 9.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, the
The
horrendous chapter.
worst freaking chapter so far.
Honestly, it took me a while to get through this chapter.
It took me a while as well. And then I saw how long it was going to take and I took a nap.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like about the Kindle. It'll tell me how quickly it takes for me to get through chapters. And I was going, one chapter was, 5 minutes, 6 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes, 25 minutes. And I was like, oh, it's nap time.
Yeah. I should have taken it out.
I was like, oh my gosh. And then you read it, and then you're just like, okay.
Yeah, literally, though. So, Winston has had the book for 6 days and still hasn't looked at it yet. And then through Hate Week, it became known that East Asia was actually the enemy now. So they all had to work 90-hour weeks to switch over everything from Eurasia to East Asia being the enemy and Eurasia to being their alliance. And all the people tore down the quote wrong posters while the announcement was made that it's actually East Asia, and said that those posters were planted by the Brotherhood. Like, I don't understand how they can get all these people to go along so eagerly with this whole thing. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I get that they're scared for their life, but like, everyone could very easily be like, oh, weird. I don't know why that's up, but everyone like rushes to freak out and tear down posters for no reason.
Yeah. No. This whole chapter was just
Crazy.
weird. But I will say the one thing I appreciate from this chapter is the breakdown of zones.
Yes, same.
You know, we finally get the breakdown of the world and who's in control of that. So I did appreciate that from this chapter. Everything else, I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. So everyone had to go back into work to make the changes, and people slept at work and meals were provided. Like, they got 2 breaks so that they could get 3 hours of sleep on each break. And that's it. So eventually, all the work faded and it became impossible to ever prove that there was a war with Eurasia at all. And Winston leaves work and has a little bit of time, so he goes to the hiding room above the shop and starts reading the book. So the chapter titles of the book are the same as the party slogan, and they kind of go through to explain the world, but like in the most droning, and like if you read a crazy person's manifesto, I feel like that's this. Like,
yeah, it's literally a breakdown of almost how the slogan was created.
yeah. But it's
and it
also
is
like
the worst.
it's trying to reflect on our world, and like I get it, okay? Like I get that the world's a messed up place. But, like, I don't know, like the way the words flowed, it was so draining, and it was almost like
I imagined a monotone person reading it.
Yeah, it was kind of like mansplaining to me. Did you kind of feel like that, where like they use big words to try and confuse you when they could have just simplified the entire sentence?
They could have simplified this entire chapter.
Yeah, like the chapter was so long, and like it repeated itself a couple times in different parts, and it was just like I get that you're basically trying to like disregard newspeak in a way that like shows that you're still good with like old English, not old English, but like traditional English. But like using more words and repeating yourself is not the way to do that. And it was so much, and it was so boring. Like, this is the one time when Julia fell asleep, I was like, girl, I feel that. 'Cause, like,
I wish I could.
yeah, it was so I don't know.
It was really bad. Not only that, did you notice that the first chapter repeated itself? When Julia came in, the whole thing repeated itself.
I know.
Like, why?
It got to the point where I started skipping it, and I know people are gonna like at me and be like, "That was such an important reflection on the world around us," and I'm gonna be like, "Try and read it and tell me that you were not bored out of your mind." Because, like, here's the thing, and Winston even says this: it does not tell you anything we don't already know.
Yes.
This is basically just reiterating knowledge that's already in my head, which is what mansplainers do. I already know the thing. I know the world. I understand the world we're living in, terrible place. I understand doublethink. I understand that the world contradicts itself continuously and that they're updating the old history, and we can't even trust that that old history was even correct because they're continuously updating it. I understand all this. So why did I just read like 50 pages of things I already knew?
And then reread it again.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the benefit. Like, the only new information that we learned was the like locations of Eurasia, Oceania, and East Asia. That is the only new thing we understood.
That I felt was like the most important. That is the knowledge that I pulled from that entire chapter. Everything else was just reiteration, and it just repeats. And thank you, Julia, for falling asleep because he stopped reading.
Yeah. And it's just like,
because I was over rereading all that.
Like, was this a manifesto George Orwell's trying to write and have us learn from? Because I just don't care. Like, and I know that that's a privilege to say that I don't care about the world, but like, in this moment, we know the world's corrupt. We understand that. I don't, like, what was the point of writing all the same information that we already know down? Like, if you're joining the Brotherhood, it's not because you think that Big Brother's a great place to live and that, it's not corrupt at all. Like, we know it's corrupt. That's why you join the Brotherhood. I don't understand who his audience for this is. Like, he's literally mansplaining to people in the Brotherhood of why they should join the Brotherhood when they joined the Brotherhood because they knew that they were in a corrupt government. So the thing he does talk about is how the party continues with war because they don't want to improve the standard of living. So they use war as a way to get rid of valuable resources, which I thought was like an interesting point.
Yeah.
But, like, it's still like, yeah, I could have connected the dots there. Also, there's no contact between citizens of any of the foreign countries, and essentially all of the foreign countries are exactly the same, and it's the same way of living in Oceania. Like, they're all in dictatorships, which I was hoping, that we'd find out that they were trying to free Oceania, but no, everyone's terrible. Why is everyone terrible? Like, I don't understand why everyone has a big brother. Like, what was the cultural shift that brought everyone to the same place?
Yeah.
Like,
my question is, which one of these big brothers is going to realize they need to stop big brothering?
Yeah. Like, I don't know how everyone got to the same place. Like, I really don't, because it's like, if you look at the way America's run, which is not well. Anyways, that's a conversation for a later day. And you look at the way Europe is run, or like the way, Russia is run, or Africa, different countries in Africa is run. Like, every country is run differently. So I don't understand how, in this fictitious world, 3 countries are run identically.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen. Like, no one runs the country the same way. Like, everyone tries to do what's best for the people in the country. At least you hope. So I don't So Julia, once she gets there, tells Winston to read the book aloud so he can explain it as they go through it. And basically they go through chapter 1, which is just a reiteration of every single thing we already know. Like, if you want to waste your time and read that, go for it. But like, if I wasn't reading it for the podcast, I would have skipped on over it because it really doesn't tell you anything. Also, they mentioned something about having slaves. So is slavery still an issue in this book?
I guess so. I mean, because they're having. Well, I don't know if it's really slaves or if he meant to be say servants. Because I know that there were servants.
I know there's
Out of
servants, but he
Brian.
says something about having slaves, and I was like he wrote this in 1949. Like there was still segregation. No, okay. So slavery was abolished in 1865. So he didn't grow up with slavery. Why would he write slavery into his fictitious world? Like I get segregation.
Wait, when was it abolished?
1865.
Okay.
And so segregation was still occurring because this was published in 1950. So I get that he's still probably racist. No surprise there.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't understand why he brought slavery into 1984. Because it's not like he grew up with slavery. So I don't understand why he would be like, I gotta bring that in there. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And I just don't understand why that would be brought, why we need to
I might have to do research into that.
Yeah, because I am confusion. I don't know. Oh, and then this is the part in the book where I realize every time he in Emmanuel Goldstein mentions a member of the party or a human being, he uses the pronoun he. And first of all, I get that, people did not use the pronoun they then much. But he doesn't even do the obligatory he/she. He only uses the pronoun he, as if only members of the Brotherhood can be men. First of all, I want to make it very clear. They is gender neutral. Don't use he/she anymore because you look like a buffoon. Just use they. It's simple. But I just don't. He just doesn't even expect females to be a member of the Brotherhood, apparently, because he only writes it towards men.
And he kicked Julia out.
Yeah. But even Emmanuel Goldstein just uses the he pronoun. Throughout the entire book when you read it, it just says he, as in a reference to party members. Why do women serve no purpose in this book? And why is there so much patriarchy that they can't even use he/she or they? I get in 1950, they probably did not use they nearly as commonly as we use they currently. Why does the patriarchy exist so heavily that no one would bat an eye with only using male-centered pronouns? And why is everybody okay with it? Was this a thing where when books were written about humankind, they only used the he male pronoun?
We might have to read some more books during this time by male authors.
I know, because I read Pride and Prejudice before this. So, and I read Fahrenheit 451, and even Fahrenheit 451, I don't, it was heavily male-centered, but, they didn't use he pronouns in references to human beings, I don't think. So we're going to have to find that out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Only one person, when this comes out, is allowed to message me and say, yes, male authors are trash. They always use the he, him pronoun. But if it's after the second day of this coming out, don't message me. At that point, I probably know already. Terrible. So as Winston reads the book to Julia, he realizes that she has fallen asleep. And girl, same.
Thank you, girl. Thank you for falling asleep. I was so tired of imagining a monotone man reading.
A trash high school history professor who's puts on those documentaries and they're and on the third day of Easter sundown. That's what I was imagining it was written. It was so dragging and so boring, and it was definitely written by someone who likes to hear themselves speak.
Yes.
So annoying. So, yeah, she falls asleep, and then we move on to chapter 10.
Oh, my favorite chapter. Oh my gosh, I was so excited reading this chapter
So basically, when they woke
because
up,
something actually happens.
yeah, Winston's like consumed with his thoughts. He goes outside and he's looking at that lady that's always singing, and he says how he thinks she's actually beautiful, even though she's had like 15 kids. First of all, what? What? He's like shocked that she's beautiful for being like 50. And I'm like, buddy boy, how old are you? Like, you are old. Like, I'm pretty sure he's older. Like, I think he's also in his 50s. So, first of all, we've already established that this man is essentially a pedophile, okay? Because he is only interested in girls that are barely of legal age. And I don't understand why he's looking at this woman. And then he tells Julia, like, oh, she's so beautiful. And Julia's like, man, like, I don't.
And talks about how they can never have children.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can, but
it's not gonna go well. Like,
it's not gonna, yeah.
Do you really, like, it doesn't seem like anybody really wants kids this generation, like this time period anyway. So I don't understand why he's
no
like,
one really wants them, but they have to have them.
Yeah. She's like, oh no, I'll never have kids. Like, why do you even want offspring? First of all, you are a terror.
You're not going to help. We don't want him to have offspring.
I think we don't want it. But like, is Julia going to raise your kids for you? Like, no.
Yeah.
She's a young, independent woman.
You're going to starve your wife and child?
Probably, because he's a horrible trash bag. So as they're talking, a voice comes from behind the wall and starts telling orders to them and telling them to go to the middle of the room. And I'm just like, well,
I am so excited.
And then knocks the picture off the wall. Turns out telescreen behind it.
Dun, dun, dun.
My other thing while I was reading this is, why did he not do this while they were reading the book? Because he was reading it out loud.
So, I think
because I would just, for dramatic effect, do it when they finish the chapter. Because now it's probably been a couple hours because they fell asleep.
No, I think they wanted to hear as much as possible.
Oh, that makes sense too.
I think it was, they knew they were going to get caught, or they knew that they were going to catch them, and they wanted to hear as much as possible.
That makes sense. So the entire house is surrounded. A bunch of people storm into the bedroom. They beat Julia up, take her away, and then Winston's left sitting there, and Mr. Charrington, who's the guy that owns the shop and that bedroom, strolls into the room, and basically they find out that he was thought police the entire time. So they fully got set up here.
They got set up hardcore.
Yeah.
They were hardcore set up. They were completely tricked, you know, and now I'm just like, Mr. Charrington, how many people have you done this to?
Yep.
Like, how many people has he caught?
I know, but it's so easy because everyone's so trusting. And like, for the fact that, you know, you should expect to be bugged, why did you not check to make sure there weren't any bugs?
Yeah. That's the first thing I would have done. I would have checked. I would have taken the paintings off the walls. I would have moved the bed around. You know, I would have done a thorough check of that room before I even started any kind of conversations.
And they didn't. They were just trusting of some random man. And so, yeah, they got caught. And I accidentally left this on a cliffhanger. So we will be picking that up again next week and talking about it.
Did leave this on a cliffhanger.
I know.
Oh, your viewers.
Yeah, for anybody who hasn't been a part of the Barely Book Club and wants to join, I accidentally do this a lot. Like, there was, when we read Rage and Ruin and Storm and Fury, every time I ended the chapters, and I just randomly picked them. I picked like a normal amount of pages and then ended the chapters on those pages. Every chapter, like every section of reading, I felt like I left them on a cliffhanger, and I would always have to be like, oh, I'm sorry everyone, for anyone who's reading right now and, you know, got left on a cliffhanger. sorry. And
Well,
so I just
come back next week.
Yeah, come back next week, everybody. We'll continue to discuss this trash bag of a human, Winston, and I
can't wait to see what happens to them.
I know.
I really cannot wait to see what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be so good.
It's gonna be juicy. And I don't know why they pulled Julia out of the room and just left Winston there.
Dude, they beat her till she was limp.
And then they didn't do
They
anything to
literally
Winston.
picked her up by her arms and her legs and just carried her out.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything to Winston. Why would they beat Julia up for no reason besides the fact that she's a woman?
No, they literally like beat her up.
Yeah.
Like
Like
they
all
described it as hitting her so hard she folded in half.
Yeah, and it's just like they didn't do anything to Winston. And for what? For what? If they're convicted of the same crime, why is it her that's getting beat up to a pulp and Winston's not even being touched?
Maybe because she is supposed to be like anti-chastity or whatever, I don't know, anti-sex club or something.
But I mean, that's assuming that they did research before they came in. And they didn't just
they've been listening the entire time these two have been in there. It's not the first time that the telescreen was in there. I'm pretty sure it's been in there from the get-go.
Yeah.
So they've been listening all along.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I don't know why, though. Because it's like he's still a person that he works for the Ministry of Love, you know? He rewrites the news.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I feel like he's equally on their radar as she is. So I don't understand why, for some reason, you know, she gets beaten to a pulp and he's gonna get a talking to. Like,
I guess we're gonna find out more.
Yeah.
You left it on a cliffhanger.
I know. And I don't read ahead right now. Like I haven't read ahead in any of our 1984 series, so I don't know anything. Like
neither do I.
Yeah, so you get genuine reactions here. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we will catch you guys on the next one next week and hopefully find out some juicy tidbits of what happened. Nicole, if all the people on the internet want to find you, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Scarlet Rose FL, Scarlet with 2 T's.
Yeah, and no E after Scarlet. For some reason, every time I spell Scarlet, I put an E at the end. I don't know why.
Yeah, no E.
No
just
E.
2 T's.
Yeah, you can continuously misspell it and not get anywhere like I do every time I try to invite you to a Microsoft Teams call, and then it takes 20 minutes to figure out why I can't seem to get you in the call. I'm going to copy and paste your email now. Like, that's just what's going to happen. Okay. But yeah, we will catch you all in the next one. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Barely Bookish podcast. If you want to find me, I'm at Barely Bookish on literally everything. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and also Twitch. So feel free to check me out on any of those places. Or go to barelybookish.com/connect and you can find links to everything. And yeah, that's basically all I've got for you guys this week. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys again on Wednesday. Our logo was designed by my little sister Sarah. Our theme song is by Raphael Crux on freepd.com. And I'll see you guys later. Bye!